Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another Heroes video. We're coming to a close of trying out all these new hero units from Dokkan Awakenings, new units, EZAs, all that good stuff. 21 did drop today. I did a summon, literally a summon, only had enough for one. Didn't manage to pull anything, but I do actually really want 21, but you can let me know down in the comments if you did manage to pull her. We are trying out the Dokkan Awakening for Golden Metal Cooler. He is rainbowed. He is actually level 10 links. He's actually leveled up pretty quickly. So we're going to be trying him out. He should actually be very good. Because not only is he getting 50% attack and defense on super, but he also has 20% damage reduction and an extra 40 or 8% per crossover category on the team. And we've gone full crossover. So he should be very good. I also did bring Tech Golden Metal Cooler as well. Not Tech Golden Metal Cooler, just Golden Cooler. Just so we can get a few links active. But start of turn, 243k attack, that only 97k defense, to be fair. Does kind of make sense considering does start with 200% attack and defense, but then gains an additional attack and defense plus 80% if HP is 50% or more when performing a super attack. And then not only that, of course, has all of his damage reduction. So I do actually really want to do this. And you know what? I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to do that. Golden Metal Cooler himself should be fine. We also have Cold Judgment active, so we actually do have a bit of extra defense. But he should be fine because he has like 60% damage reduction right now. Even a super. We're going to see how much he tanks this for. What are we saying? 170k. That's actually decent. To be fair, he's taking a little bit more on the basics afterwards, just because he does have his defense lowered. The only reason why he may take a bit of damage, well, for one, that was pre-super, so I'll allow him for that. I'll let him off. But for pre-super, which means he didn't have the 80%, didn't have the 50% attack and defense he gets on super, or even the 70% chance of an additional he does have, so he could have got an extra 50%. Even though that is, you know, got to take that into account, he hadn't super attacked yet, that was very good. Second, his numbers aren't that high. I mean, you saw his starter 10 defense. We weren't even breaking 100k. But because he has so much damage reduction, 60% of it, he should be able to tank like the upper echelons of damage output in the game fairly well. Don't forget, just like Janemba or Janemba Modified, this man in like 2, maybe 3 years time will also get an EZA. Like, he's going to get better. This is just his Dokkan Awakening, and he already has 60% damage reduction with some solid damage output. What did he put out, like 7 mil? And again, don't forget, he has a 70% chance of launching an additional super, which means back-to-back 50% attack and defense raises. So he'll tank a little bit better if his additional does pop, just because we'll naturally have a bit more defense. Again, we have him rainbowed. He could triple, which means even more, you know, padding for himself. But decent damage output, which is getting raised by 50% each time, with 60% damage reduction. And again, this man at some stage or another, in the next 2 to 3 years, will receive an EZA. And he will only get better. So just as I said to Janemba, like, their Dokkan Awakenings are very... He's getting super attacked again. What's this one going to be again? Pre-super, by the way. Pre-super. To be fair, again, I'm pretty sure he did have his defense lowered, but 200k pre-super is not bad. Like, if he got to super attack first, that number would probably half. But just like Janemba, at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll get an EZA and we'll only get better. And they're already very good with the Dokkan Awakenings they've received. Now, bearing in mind, Golden Metal Cooler is very tied to how good he can be, mainly with his damage reduction, by being on a crossover team. Which, a lot of the Dragon Ball heroes and crossover units, they tend to have some type of condition tied in that makes them, you know, as good as they can be anyway. So it's not anything new. Getting super attacked again. Actually, if we've got Cell could super attack you multiple times here. We are next to being dead as well. But you do miss out on a lot with Golden Metal Cooler. Like, if you, per crossover category ally on a team, get Ki +1 up to 5, it's all by 5. You get an additional attack plus 40% up to 200%, and the additional damage reduction of 8% up to 40% per crossover category ally on the team. Now, losing 1, maybe 2 of them, not too bad. You still have a ton of damage reduction. But with how content is nowadays and how hard hitting it is, and he doesn't need any build up, which a lot of the top units do, missing out on that full extra 40% damage reduction specifically to go with the 20% he already has to take it to 60, you don't really want to miss out on all of that. Now I'm going to pop an item because we are basically kind of almost dead. Like, we're very close to being dead. But again, considering a lot of the damage we've taken is purely from Golden Metal Cooler being in slot 1, I don't really mind, to be fair. Like, he's tanking well considering how low his defense is because of all that damage reduction, but it's actually not a slot 1 unit. And that is because his defense is so low. Not only that, but this is something you probably won't see too often outside of like difficult content, maybe SBR, ESBR, you know, Clash, those kind of things. He'll also steal the enemy's super attack if your HP is 20% or less. So if we wasn't in red zone, where that really isn't a possibility like ever, we would actually seal sell, which would be quite nice. But of course, you can't really do that here or at all. Is he sealed or locked? He's sealed. Why have you done that? We just got Mira's support as well, like her juiced up steroid support. Like, look at us, 314k attacks, that 168k defense with 60% damage reduction. Why have you sealed me now? That's like scum. What a rat. I mean, we still have the item active, so he can't sell. It's not sell. Cooler can't catch a break. Keeps getting super attacked. Again, not that it'll do anything. And that's another thing. For those of you who do use items, and I am one of them, unless of course you're going for item runs, if you were to pop a Whis with this man, I doubt any attacks in the game will probably touch him or will hurt him, because you have the 60% damage reduction he gets from his passive. And that's if you're running with 5 other crossover category units, which I doubt you really want to miss out on that, so you probably would. But 60% damage reduction with a Whis, which is 40, that's 100% damage reduction. So the lack of defense that this man has doesn't really become an issue when you have a Whis, because you have 100% damage reduction. Which is pretty nice. I mean, when you consider like Fusion's Masu hitting AoEs early as he does, and typically units have to build and use the, you know, Whis in the beginning or items in the beginning against the AoEs just to kind of avoid taking as much damage as possible. Golden Metal Cooler will be one of those units that you can rely on for you to like not take any damage and barely lose any HP. But one thing that is for certain is Dokkan has done a very good job with heroes this year in terms of how good these units are and how much longevity they're going to have. Again, Golden Metal Cooler and Janemba are Dokkan Awakenings. They're going to get better in 2 to 3 years' time, but they're already very good with the Dokkan Awakenings they've received. This man is honestly insane. The EZA for SSJ for Vegito to go next to him, very good, and it's like one of the best rotations in the game right now. So I don't see that dying out any like that quickly. Don't get me wrong. Mira, why do I always get them confused? Is Mira? Toa? Toa. Don't get me wrong. Toa isn't, you know, a world beater or anything, but she's an insane support, and as long as you can keep her safe, you know, we've done that with units against Zamasu, you know, you're looking at Guasu and Zamasu, you know, Mai, etc. She can be brought, and her support is that good. Doesn't really matter too much. But like, they've done a very good job. It's a shame the Jeets is like Berserk controlled and Dark Marseille or Black Marseille. It's a shame my boy Jeets got shagged heavily, but a lot of the other units have fared really well this year. Like, really, really well. We have type advantage here, which means Cooler's chilling. Cooler is chilling. The fact he just gets 60% damage reduction by running him with other, you know, crossover category units is actually ridiculous. But again, as I said, one thing you do want to remember, and we saw it there, like 20k on a basic isn't too bad considering he hasn't supered yet. So, you know, he's actually faring quite well in slot 1, where he shouldn't really be just because he gets so much extra defense after he supers. That is one thing you do have to factor in, is naturally his defense is low because he's not a Dokkan Fest. Second, he doesn't have that much defense until he super attacks anyway, and even then it's not that high. So while the 60% damage reduction is honestly amazing, and he's actually tanking really well in slot 1 where technically he shouldn't be, Don't forget, here and there against some of the heavy hitting enemies, I mean, we'll find out against like Fusion Zamasu, he will take a little bit extra just because naturally his defense isn't as high. But that damage reduction, huge. It's a shame we can't get him on like a Terrifying Conquerors team. Not Terrifying Conquerors, like Wicked Bloodline. You know, we could, but then we miss out on all the extra stats, mainly the damage reduction per crossover category ally, because of the team we're running him on. So, I mean, you could run him on under like Meta Cooler's 200% lead, LO Meta Cooler's 200% lead, but you miss out on too much. Key +5, attack +200%, but mainly, as I said, that 40% extra damage reduction. It's not worth it, but the Heroes team this year is very, very strong. Cooler for a Dokkan Awakening, very, very good. And again, just like Janemba, the fact he's going to get an easy A in a couple years' time is generally insane because they're already good enough as it is. So the fact that they're going to get better, kind of ridiculous to me right now. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your day. Let me know how your Android 21 summons went and if you did pull her and what you think of her. And post.